Hello my friends, and welcome to my July-August Is Your Ex Coming Back. Just before I start, I want to let you know there is like still a speed up special. So if you order something, it's not going to last 3 weeks as a regular reading. You're going to get it within a week. Also, if you order rush, you're going to get it within 3 days, not a week, and urgent readings 24 hours. So some of you are really familiar with this reading. These cards here are taken from a different deck, and they're called significators. Significator means, hey, I really want to describe something that is happening over here, but this is not a card that I read. So yes, this front row is going to be identical in all the readings because of that. If you did see this explanation, just jump to the reading. But if you haven't, please listen to it, because it's actually really important and it's a part of the reading. So this very first card, the Magician, I picked because it's a number 1. I really want to see how to move forward in this category. As above, so below. What can be the best that can come out of this relationship? What are the tools that they're given? You know, not everybody is given like sort of like, you know, full house. Some of us really have to deal with what basically we are kind of like handed. So this is going to tell me if this is even a starter, this relationship. Temperance here is purposely reversed because in the upright position, Temperance talks, hey, can I mix these two opposites? So let's say one is really good, one is really bad. Is there a point of making this in the middle if it's not? Generally, really, I want to see which things are pulling this relationship apart. What cannot be glued? What has to be glued in order to move forward? Then Queen of Wands is going to be one significator. It could be you. It doesn't matter if it's a male or female, even though I'm using wands all the time. And not everybody is a fire sign, which usually wands are used for. And the reason why I'm doing this is like when we date, we kind of are very action oriented. We kind of like do for a moment, step in this fire and acting like that. And then we sort of like settle in our own sign. This is going to give me communication between the two of you. What's going on? How is it projected? What could or won't happen? And now the two really important cards would be Judgment, which is one of my chosen karma cards. And I want to see in this category, was this a karmic mate? Was this a karmic soulmate? Because then I would advise you, look, get a karmic reading too, because this is actually part of you and your path. You wanted this person to come here. Usually karmic soulmate or twin flame is like, ouch, relationship, right? And here we're going to see, where is this going? Is this going a step further, or is it not going a step further? So hopefully this was like not too much of introduction, and let's start. Hello Aquarians, and welcome to July-August Is Your Ex Coming Back. So guys, also check your ascendant and check your moon sign to kind of get more perspectives, but really to know it for sure, contact me for the reading at cattarot.ca. So let's see what's in store for us. Wow, the Emperor, not bad. The World reversed. And the High Priestess. Are we still, guys, in some kind of like hermit mode? Whoa! Lots of things are bubbling up on the surface. We have dealt with somebody who was not really on par, who was not very honest, who kind of like was going through a situation that only kind of like they were saying, hey, I want to make things to work out for everybody, but it looks like they were just benefiting themselves. And that's kind of like the feeling that kind of like was kind of like that stayed. It looks like that Aquarians need to kind of like stabilize. Their world has been rocked, but that expression, when I hear it, it's never a good thing, right? It kind of like You see here we have this infinity, so this could be somebody from twin flame, past lives. You see this kind of hidden infinity. Things should kind of continue in karma resolved, but karma didn't resolve when this is happening. I mean, I'm seeing lots of things. I'm seeing Pisces, I'm seeing Cancer, I'm seeing Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, Aries, Sagittarians. I kind of like see a accumulation of things, and the reason for that could be really that's what needed to be done, because this is kind of falling in a category what needs to be glued. What needs to be glued is to release the past, and it's not that really past is not released, because look at this need for stabilization, need for control. What is my world? Where am I going? It's kind of like, it seems to be a situation. There is lots of things that happened in quite a while, in at the very least last 14 but possibly even 21 months, was something that was shifting you, and that shift didn't feel right. It just kind of felt, you know, that you're spinning against the grain, and it's kind of like very unnerving situation. I almost like see kind of like things that are here much deeper than something just imminent, something just recent, because look at them. They're actually going through some kind of like transformation, whether there was like some kind of jealousy, whether they're like blaming you for jealousy or they're jealous themselves. I think it's a little bit of both, to be really honest, in the situation. It is like a situation where they don't actually even have any clarity. They would not be able to provide you with any answers at this stage, and they're kind of like moving forward in the spiraling down in a negative direction, and there is like this overall sense of loss on all sides. What's kind of like the stuff that I missed? People do lots of stuff like when they just get adjusted to the partner, they don't even realize, hey, I spent so much time working on this relationship, and then they kind of like blast themselves, and next thing you know, somebody said, well, you know, I kind of like don't like that, and this is not fair. And especially with Aquarians, it's kind of like pulling these emotional strings, especially creating jealousy that always explodes in your face, because it's almost like a knee-jerk reaction, no you want. And it was kind of like observing how this person will react. They were kind of trying to poke Aquarians, kind of like, hey, let's see if I can pull this one. It's almost like they were taking so much. It's kind of like really interesting. Look at this High Priestess is just sitting here calmly, and she's watching. No, a single word. Just like, I'm watching you. I'm watching you. I want to see what you're going to do in this situation. You know, like what they say, give them a rope so they can hang themselves. That sort of thing. Kind of like that I see over here. And I really think, like, I see here there's like a strong wall for Aquarians. Like, it's kind of like guard is up there, but in a good way. There's like still something that is like relating to the past, or maybe somebody destabilized you, and that's kind of like what is reflecting. But I'm telling you, this person really felt, oh, I'm doing the great stuff. They have no ability to see inside. They are just like literally only self-absorbed. Oh, look at this, I'm giving and giving. But they don't realize that obviously they're giving because that's also giving them the pleasure as well. And the giving was just fruitless. It just really didn't have any essence of actually creating something. Because this person here, and that's the karma category, is reviewing the entire situation, saying, no bread there. I need to move forward. I need to move on from this position. So let's see where this takes us. Aquarians could be a little bit of a hermit mode, kind of good mode, kind of like, look, I just really need some zen time. I need some peace. It's kind of like, looks like it's oddity for an Aquarian, but Knight of Pentacles means not being even open to friendship. And that generally means that the battery is completely empty, and possibly cannot be even recharged. It has to be replaced with a new battery, and that's what happens when you kind of like get to the end of the cycle, to that kind of like energy. You cannot recycle things anymore. Something new has to be done, because look at this, like this new world that was connecting to this person, and this person also might live a distance away. It could include some kind of trouble to see this person. And talking about trouble, it looks like it might be, whether it's metaphorical trouble or real trouble, literal trouble that I'm seeing over here. So it might be some kind of communication. It might be kind of like that they are trying to come back in the good books, and almost like seems to be request, hey, will you be my friend? I miss you as a friend. It looks like that I'm seeing now like that there was like a third person over here. If it wasn't the third person, there was an ex who was pulling really strong strings, and that's what I was saying, like they were kind of like trying to say a little bit for you, a little bit for you, and they didn't have their head straight on properly, clearly. And it kind of looks like Aquarians took the kind of like attitude, look, I'm just going to wait and watch, and I'm going to see what you do with that rope that I just like handed to you. They for some reason are really outsmarted over here, because they didn't even realize this was what was happening. Almost like they felt they're like sort of like getting away with a whole bunch of stuff, right? And it's kind of like very strange, because the devil, when it reverses, really talks about, hey, you know, what was needed there is to kind of like resolve these bonds, who is bonded to who and who belongs to who, and is there such a thing as belonging. It could be kind of like issues with alcohol and drugs and addictions, but it also could be that the relationship has been so damaging that, you know, it takes away kind of like really big piece of you, and hence then people sometimes even decide to be alone, because they just, oh my gosh, I just can't ever handle anything like that. Because I totally see here Aquarians feeling they have lost a really big, not only that person, but they don't even see that as a loss of the person. It's kind of loss of who they really are, because Aquarians are all about giving. Being number 11 means your natural healer that also has to go through kind of like really rough patches, through the trenches, in order to know how to be hurt each and every time and how to rebound, right? That's the learning process. But usually when something like this, something like really big is kind of like thrown, that learning is reaching that higher level, and it looks like for some it's very difficult. Well, I do have the 2 6s here, which is kind of telling, well, actually, wait a minute, I have 3 6s. It's a soul, not only a soulmate, which will be 2, but karmic soulmate that I see that here. And there is like a time to kind of like recontrol the situation. So when Aquarius refuses somebody and saying, no, take everything back, I want nothing to hear from you, I don't want to deal with you anymore, that you're looking at one pissed off Aquarian, and it's going to be served you really cold. Because when Aquarians, especially when we talk, we are still actually interested, even if we yell. But when we don't talk, or when we are just cold, we already made our decision. So let's see, where is this going to head in August, to see kind of like what to expect and what to prepare ourselves for. So whether this is going to be that person, which very likely you might get some kind of message, hey, how are you doing? It might look friendly, but it might also have a tint of, you know, hey, wanna go and grab a coffee? So it's kind of like probing kind of thing. It's more or less, I think it's going to be suggested friendship, but this is not just regular friendship. It's somebody who is just trying to infiltrate and kind of like not to kind of like look back, sort of like try to look very innocent. And they really do think, that's why I'm telling you, it's the worst problem here, that they actually do think they're innocent, they did nothing wrong, even though they shed quite a bit of turmoil and devastation around. It's just like, It's like you threw, like, I mean, the nuclear bomb in your garden to clean the weed, and it's just like the whole neighborhood is dead now, right? Never mind neighborhood, like how about like the city? And like that's basically seems to be the impact over here. Like Aquarians are always forward thinking, always forward, like what will we eat today, like what we're going to do on the weekend, like we're getting on the nerves of everybody. But here for us, that the world is not spinning forward, and now like we want to kind of like return something back. I think the lesson here is we have been learning some really heavy lesson, and we actually have to go through that shadow of the death in order to see light and facing our own demons. And look at this, yet another 6, 6 and 6 and 6 and 6. We have a 4. Clearly confirmation that there were quite a bit of things here that glued you to that partner. So hence it is very difficult to say, you know, c'est la vie. Having said that, there is like something like Aquarians are known for being rebellious, and off I go, like, I mean, almost like sounded like I want to sometimes be rebellious. Yeah, right. So that rebelliousness is coming back, and it's going to come to us that we didn't, well, if you wish, lose. It's not about losing, nobody won. It was like really who is stronger over here, and yet another 6 here, right? But that's actually exactly faulty thinking, because the whole point was moving to the next stage. The whole point was like what we did at some point, or what maybe we will be able to do in this period. Just approach things differently and say, well, this, I'm already seeing this turmoil. I'm already trying for such a long time to kind of like create myself into something new, and kind of like go through that bridge, the dark, long, cold walk, that bridge, and it's not getting easier. It's like, oh my gosh, is there a way out, kind of a thing. But there is a way out. I see this way out. It's going to happen in this period, but it seems to be like something that, you know, many people do give up, or, you know, that's when people resort to, oh, I'm going to order you, I'm going to cut you, and hence they win, but they damage the entire relationship. I see that how is this going to happen is returned determination. Look at this, like warrior, he's wounded warrior, and he's saying, look, I have been through thick and thin, and you know what, I feel I'm close. I will do one more step, but only one more. It's sort of like that intelligent planning, if you wish. It's going to be lots of action. It's going to be action, kind of like oriented communication, or you're going to create sort of like a position that, you know what, I need to wrap it up. That kind of action. It's, yeah, it has been too long. I cannot deal with this. It's like nothing this person does anymore is coming through. You are like linking this person with issues with a third person. You are linking this person with loss of dignity. You're linking this person with lots of arguments. You are linking this person with being bruised all the time and always playing some kind of game. And Aquarians are not like that. We can win the game, but then we know, hi, we win the battle, we lost the war, lovely, like, yay, like, you're stupid again, kind of a thing. But you see, there is like good news that there is like this new essence, like we are waking up. There is like this cup is pouring again. It's like not stale, it's not muddy, you know, like what happens when you leave just a little bit water in a glass, but that's kind of getting clean. Look at this, it's a new phase starting. Maybe we are managing to relinquish that control and just like say, look, I'm just trying one more time, and I'm going to do whatever I can that one more time, but if it's not, it's not. And whether this means pulling inside and releasing this person, tarot reading, ordering a private reading is a really good way of doing that. I mean, full moon ceremonies are also very good. Cutting cord ceremonies are also very good. And it's like sometimes we want to feel this partner, because just saying to yourself, I'm going to make sure that I don't think about you, I don't, you know, check you up on social media. I don't do any of the things. Sometimes we can order that to ourselves and keep distracting ourselves if we keep going down the garden path, right? And this is kind of like where this whole thing is happening. So that's one scenario that we are simply just going in a complete release and say, look, you know, you have been this karmic soulmate. Obviously, not only the time that you spent together, but also the time that right now you're carrying this person in your head. And it is time to release. It is time to right now to start to accumulate the lessons learned through this kind of like battles, because this was supposed to be a karmic soulmate, somebody who kind of like walks with you part of the way. The whole idea of twin flames is not to unite. The whole idea of twin flames is to say, hey, we are the same. And now, recognizing, mirroring this kind of things, both of us can just kind of like create this completely new soul. And I think this is what's happening when you kind of like are having this energy and attraction. It's kind of like hard to remove this like ball of fire. And that's exactly what we see here, a ball of fire. We have the sun coming here in the karmic thing, and then sun will shine again. And this is talking about, you know, again being in the saddle, or for some of you it definitely looks like somebody might come back. Somebody might actually ask for friendship. Be very careful. This person did not change. This person is going to kind of continue with their victories and battles, and if you want to feel miserable, be my guest. I'm just telling you, same old, same old. Where here we see the sun, which kind of like talks about one of the best cards in this entire deck. So I don't know, it could be a Leo that is involved, but it could be any of these fixed signs or the signs that I've told you. The sun actually just, again, we see this wall here. So somehow there is like this feeling like, look, I'm leaving this behind, I'm protecting myself. And it is kind of like motion forward, where there is like, again, this kind of childlike attitude and ability to kind of like self-protect and go forward. So very much like this, like here we were the old man, and here we are a little child. So the cycle switch, the very thing that we were holding, and it was creating lots of problems, possibly even health problems that I see here, especially mental health problems, but I also see physical health problems, especially with the bones and with legs over here. This now, it remains to what now, and what now is going to be a big question. Because it looks like that, you know, there's like still essence of missing this person, but it's also a big understanding that something needs to be done on your own, for yourself, by yourself. It just means moving forward and recognizing yourself. That's what it means. But it kind of like looks like that we will feel it's kind of forced on us. But you know what? Like, I mean, baby steps are forced, and we just have to learn how to walk again. That's all I see. So Aquarians, that's going to be a very interesting period. I would love to get your opinion. And if you're still here with me, you see this like subscribe button, please click. You will be invited on my live readings, which will be great to have. The energy is being sent to me. And yeah, get the reading from my website, tarot.ca. And in the meantime, before the next week when I'm going to have Twin Flames, check me out on Facebook and Instagram. So until the next time, my dear Aquas, all the best. I love you.